other time than now that the need for such important discourse should be held. This is the time and this is the moment that those whom I believe embody the spirit of nationalism, the spirit of patriotism, should gather and discuss one of the most important instruments of national development, of national power. That is the military. Of course, I believe it will be one of the best and most insightful educative platform of having such discourse. I am Second Lieutenant Tony Mendy. Currently, I'm doing my young officer course in India, in Pune. And my co-host is Yaya. Yaya, the floor is yours. You can introduce yourself before I go through the agenda of today's program.
Okay, thank you so much, Tony Mendy. Hello and welcome everyone. I am Yaya Jallo, a first year Bachelor of Business Administration student at Gujarat University. It is an honor to serve as your co-host for today's webinar on national security. Thank you, Tony.
Yes, to begin with, we'll start through the opening prayers, welcoming and opening remarks by the President, Mr. Mbu, biography of the guest speaker that will be read by my co-host Yaya, presentation by guest speaker, that's Captain Kanuteh, question and answers by all participants, and lastly, closing remark by Her Excellency, Madam the Vice President. So I will pledge all your indulgence for us to observe 2 minutes prayer in our own individual ways. All right, amen. I hope our prayers are answered. Yes, going by the itinerary of today's agenda, Mr. Mbo, the president of Association of Government Students in India, you are highly welcome. The floor is yours. All right. Thank you so very much, Mr. President. You have hit the nail directly. I believe importance of security can never and ever be overemphasized. It is like every backbone of any developed country and any country that wish to prosper, any country that wish to propel, to be at that echelon, to be at that primax. Security is a must. And I believe this discourse is one of the best I ever attended, or that I ever will ever remember for the rest of my life. Thank you so very much for giving us this opportunity and having such a high profile individual, someone that is so intellectual, someone that knows a lot when it comes to this subject matter in, the, in this platform. Thank you so very much. Uh, Next in the itinerary is the biography of the guest speaker, and I will call on my co-host, Yaya Jallo, to read his biography. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Tony Mendy. Thank you so much, Captain, for joining us in this important webinar. I believe the topic is very important, especially when it comes to national security. It refers to any nation's ability to safeguard its citizens, institute, and sovereignty from various threats. Traditionally focuses on military defense. The concept has evolved to encompass a broad spectrum of concern, including military security, protection against external aggression, economic security, ensuring economic stability and resilience, cybersecurity, defending against digital threats and cyber attacks, environmental security, addressing ecological challenges that may impact national stability. In the context of the Gambian national security, involves coordinated effort across various sectors to maintain peace, uphold the rule of law, and promote sustainable development. The establishment of the Office of National Security, ONS, in 2017 underscores the country's commitment to a comprehensive and collaborative approach to security matters. It is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed guest speaker for today's webinar on national security in national security of the Gambia, Captain Kemo Kanuteh, the acting director of press and public relations at the defense headquarters of the Gambia Armed Forces. Captain Kanuteh is a seasoned military officer with over 15 years of experience in defense. He began his military career with basic training at the Gambia Armed Forces Training School in 2009 and has since taken on diverse leadership roles, including officer commanding the Joint Security Task Force at Banjul International Airport, officer commanding military for 1st and 2nd Infantry Battalion 2013 and 2014, officer commanding Maritimes, Gambia Navy 2017-2019, director and later acting director of Press and Public Relations, GAF 2020 to present. He held a Bachelor of Arts in Education, English Language from the University of the Gambia in 2023 and a Highest Teacher Certificate HTC from the Gambia College 2006. He is currently a fellow at a National Institute for Security Studies in Abuja 2024. Captain Kanuteh also undergone extensive international military training, Basic Officer Leader Course, U.S. Army, Fort Huachuca, Arizona 2013 to 2012, International Counterterrorism Course, Ranger School, Egypt 2017, VIP Protection and Anti-Terrorism Course, Ankara, Turkey 2015. His commendations include Peacekeeping Medal, United Nations Mission in Mali, Distinguished Service Recognition, U.S. Mission in Sudan, overall Best International Student Award, Egypt in 2017, inductee of the Military Hall of Fame, Fort Huachuca, USA. Beyond his military duties, Captain Kanuteh has served as an educator, editor-in-chief of the Asahu Military Magazine, the Ahua Military Magazine, and an active member of civic bodies such as the Gambia Scout Association and the Armed Forces Football Board. He enjoyed football, reading novels, and watching movies. Today, he joined us to shed light on the Gambian national security, leveraging both his on-the-ground experience, and academic insight. Please join me in warmly welcoming Captain Kemo Kanuteh. Sir, the floor is all yours. So your mic, please.
All right, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible from my
Thank
end,
you.
sir.
Thank you very much, yeah, for that introduction. I'm really elated, but then I also want to thank each and everyone for being here, and also the Gambian students in India for first of all having this initiative to have this important theme discussed on a day which is very, very significant when it comes to the Gambia's history. I will want to extend, first of all, to each and every one of you that the Defense Headquarters, Gambia Armed Forces, the Chief of Defense Staff, officers and men of GAF are indeed happy, and they feel that the coming up of this topic is apt, and then you are all conversant of the need for everyone to be up to date when it comes to national security matters. All right, that being said, the issue of national security is a concept, okay, and the concept does not only end at the realms of governance, but it goes beyond that to international relations, to defense strategies. All right, so if we refer to the protection of a nation's sovereignty, territorial integrity, economic stability, and the well-being of its citizens from both external and internal threats, this is all, how to call it, this is all embodied in what? In national security. It is a very, very wide topic that one cannot be able to deliver in the 30 minutes that you have given. But in order to do some justice to the topic, I want to confine myself to what concerns the Gambia Armed Forces and our mandate in terms of national security. So you will see that the whole world is increasingly interconnected, and it's a very, very wide topic. So the importance of national security has also evolved to encompass more than just the military, just more than just military defense. National security now includes a broad spectrum of policies and practices that ensure the stability, continuity, and safety of a country's institutions, values, and citizens. So the concept then is not only about defense of the borders, which the armed forces is mandated to do, but also about creating an environment in which citizens can thrive and the nation can pursue its interests without undue disruption from hostile actors. We shall come to that. And this includes addressing issues such as cyber threats, economic vulnerability, social cohesion, and even climate change. So all of which directly or indirectly affect our national security. So as I've said before, I will try to explore the definition of national security, the key dimensions that it encompasses, and why it remains a central focus in terms of even policy making for the Gambia and many other nations. So looking at national security in its basic form, it refers to the safeguarding of a nation's interest against potential threats that could compromise its safety, stability, or sovereignty. So these threats may arise from foreign governments, that is military, or even cyber attacks. Non-state actors, as we all know, like terrorist attack or organized criminal groups such as narcotic cartels, armed robbers, natural disasters like flooding and earthquakes, or even internal forces that threaten social, political, or economic stability. So according to Harold Brown in 1977 to 81 was the US Secretary of Defense. So he said national security is the ability to preserve the nation's physical integrity and territory, to maintain its economic relations with the rest of the world on reasonable terms, and also to preserve its nature, institutions, and governance from disruption from outside and to control its borders. So, according also to the National Defense College of India in 1996, they defined national security as an appropriate and aggressive blend of political resilience and maturity, human resources, economic structure, and capacity. Technological competence comes into play, industrial base, and availability of natural resources, and also finally, military might, which I should be delving on more later in the discussions. So the traditional view of national security often centers around military defense and the protection of its nation's borders. However, as the world has become more interconnected and technology has advanced, the concept of national security has expanded to include various sectors: diplomatic, economic, environmental, and even cultural, cultural considerations. So governments try to implement national security strategies through combination of defense forces, intelligence services, and diplomatic efforts, law enforcement, and economic measures. But now let's look at national security from the dimension of the military. As it is multifaceted, we have economic security, we have social and cultural security, but I am not going to deal with them in this discussion. So let's examine military security. Military security traditionally stands at the core of national security. It refers to the ability of a nation to defend itself from external military threats and aggression. So this dimension involves maintaining a capable and ready defense force, establishment of military alliances, and ensuring a robust military strategy that can protect the nation from external adversaries. In today's world, military security also includes countering the rise of non-traditional threats. Non-traditional threats are, example, terrorism and hybrid warfare, where adversaries might use unconventional tactics, guerrilla warfare, and then that may blend military and non-military means of aggression. So involve military to come in is that of political security. And this involves the protection of a nation's political institutions and the preservation of its form of government. As we all know, the Gambia Armed Forces, it is our task to protect the government. It is our task to protect institutions of government. Okay, so this dimension focuses on the stability of the political system. We know no system can function when there is political instability and there is no rule of law and there is no prevention of internal subversion such as coup attempts, revolutions, and insurrections. So political security ensures the survival of democratic principles, human rights, and the governance framework of the nation. So internationally, political security may also involve maintaining favorable diplomatic relations and alliances that support the nation's interests on the global stage. As you all may be aware, the Gambia we sign cooperations. We go into memorandum of understanding with nations, especially like Senegal and other countries. This is all geared towards the preservance of political security of our nation. So another form of national security that is key is that of cybersecurity. As I said in the beginning, you know, the world is evolving. We are going into technological advancement, and then cybersecurity is very, very important. So this has
Hello,
become one
sir.
of the most.
Sir,
Yes,
Captain, sir.
go ahead, Tony.
Captain, sir.
I'm hearing you.
I believe your network is somehow breaking. I don't know if it is from my end or from yours. Yes. So, all right. The
Tony
rest
might
of
be from your end.
the
From my end,
participants
it's
can
very
confirm if
clear.
they are hearing you correctly. If so, no problem, sir. You can kindly continue.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Or am I
All
going
right,
fast?
no problem. All right, no problem.
All right. So I was talking about the importance of cybersecurity when it comes to national security framework, and it has become one of the most important aspects of national security in the 21st century. And so, with the increasing reliance on digital technologies, as you know, this platform itself is a digital technology that we are using, but also the digital platforms are used for governance, they are used for commerce, they are used for communication, and even defense. So the protection of our cyberspace from cyber attacks, from hacking and data theft is very, very essential. So this involves safeguarding critical national infrastructure, government databases, private sector networks, and even our personal data from cyber threats. So the rise of state-sponsored cyber attacks, espionage, and cyber terrorism has made cybersecurity one of the key areas when it comes to focus for governments worldwide. As we can see examples in today's world, we see accusations, okay, in the media spaces of cyber threats. You know, the U.S. will say they are having cyber threats from North Korea, you know, against their their security infrastructure and also key, you know, infrastructure. So it is definitely something that needs to be looked at when it comes to national security. So another key important area for us to discuss in terms of national security is energy security. So, and this is a critical aspect when it comes to national security because access to energy is fundamental when it comes to any nation's economic development and military capabilities. Uh, this dimension involves ensuring that reliable and affordable energy supply, as well as diversification of energy resources, are there to or energy sources to prevent dependency on any single provider. You know, geopolitical tensions over energy resources, particularly oil and natural gas, international instability. We've seen countries where who are endowed with natural resources uh, having conflicts. We are seeing what is happening in the Congo, okay, with all the issues when it comes to natural resources. So this is also very important for the Gambia in particular. When you look at the issue of natural resources, the Gambia is talking about, okay, oil fields in Senegal, okay, and the Gambia also, we have the Sangoma oil fields, which are in close proximity with Senegal. So these are areas which need to be secured, okay, because once there it comes to be discovered, okay, that there is oil and exploration starts, then we'll see real threats coming up when in terms of security, which the Gambia Armed Forces obviously needs to be ready to take on. And another area that is very key is that of environment security. This environment security in concern to the Gambia Armed Forces is that the ecosystem has attracted greater attention as the impact of ecological damage by humans has grown. The degradation of the ecosystem, including deforestation, biodiversity loss, and climate change, these all affect the economic security of any country. And in turn, it affects national security. So ecological security or environment security is also important since most of the countries in the world are developing and dependent on agriculture. You can see that the Gambia Armed Forces even into agriculture for food self-sufficiency. If you may be following the news, you would have seen that the last time the Gambia Armed Forces was given tractors by the commander-in-chief and the president in terms of helping the Gambia Armed Forces in its drive for food self-sufficiency. Okay, so as I said, most of the countries in the world are developing and dependent on agriculture. the Gambia is inclusive. So this just affected largely due to climate change. We are already always seeing it in the news. Climate change. We have these climate enthusiasts and so forth. So the effect of this on the economy of the nation affects national security, and the Gambia is not an exception to all of these things. So if we look at environmental issues, I know most of you are aware of the Gambia Armed Forces being given the task to uh, post military officers to the Department of Forestry, to lead the Department of Forestry, also to serve as forestry officers. That is all pointing to the fact that environment security or ecological security is very, very important, and the Gambia Armed Forces needs to step up in this direction. So we also see that recently there is cries for the Cordillera timber. Okay, the Cordillera timber is normally called as the wild mango, or as the Mandinkas call it as Wulakono Dutu. So we know, there's so much smuggling of this timber that it threatens our environment from collapse. You see, so we look at areas in Wuli and Sandu. People are crying foul, for deforestation, because people are just cutting down these trees, and then we all know the repercussions when we lost or when we lose our forest cover. A lot of things come into play. And the Gambia, in 2022, if I am wrong or thereabouts, banned timber exports. Timber exports are banned in the country, you see. And then all the licenses that have been given by the government, they were revoked. So when we see our environment being degraded, our trees being cut down indiscriminately, there is a need for action to be taken, and the government have taken the right steps, and the Gambia Armed Forces have posted out officers to the Department of Forestry. We have forest rangers who are there, and then just yesterday, when I was preparing for this discussion, I talked to the for the first time, truckloads of this timber have been confiscated and are at Kafuta. You see, I would have loved if I could have gone there and then took photos that I could have shared with all of you to come to make these confirmations. Okay, so that being said, we also look at infrastructural security. The infrastructure is very, very important for any nation. So there should be protection, especially critical infrastructure. So this includes such as airports, okay, our highways, our transport system, our hospitals, our bridges, you name it. So communication, media houses, our electricity power stations like NAWEC and others, the seaport. You see, when we also come to explore oil, the Navy need to deploy to protect those protect those platforms. Our water systems, where water is being purified and then supplied for everybody to benefit from. So you will see that this is why countries, including the Gambia, come up with institutions to take care of this. And the Gambia Armed Forces has a whole unit that is dedicated when it comes to internal security matters and the protection of key facilities against sabotage or terrorism or whatsoever. We have the Gambia National Guards. That is one of the functions, or that is the branch of the Gambia Armed Forces that is responsible for the protection of key facilities. So normally you will see soldiers being deployed on the roads. You see soldiers, deployed to some of these key facilities like NAVEC and others. And some people will question, they'll be like, what are the military doing here? But I think it's because of the understanding. Okay, so this is why such platforms are important for people to discuss, and then they can come to be aware of some of these things. So the Gambia National Guard is having this tax when it comes to infrastructure security under the Gambia Armed Forces. So we all know, like, let's take NAVEC, for example. Now, these are NAVEC purification zones where they purify the water and supply to each and every home. How about if somebody goes and contaminate the water? What kind of disaster are we going to see, or are we going to witness for the country? What about our power grid? When there is sabotage on it, what is going to happen? We'll be without power. When there is no power, we all know what happens. A lot of us complain about NAVEC. But then, so these are, when it comes to infrastructure security, there are key issues under that in terms of national, you know, national security. Let's look at terrorism. Okay, we know is one of the most talked about things of this 21st century. So terrorism involves targeting of critical infrastructure, because the aim of terrorists is to bring a nation down to its knees, or make it ungovernable, or to spread fear into the population. And what best way is there to spread fear is to cause destruction of this key infrastructure, like as we see in countries like Nigeria. You see, terrorist attack when it comes to their power grid, and the whole communities will be without power for some time, which is definitely very inconvenient. So these need to be protected. Another case relevant to look at is, because most of you are in India, I don't know whether you are aware of the 2008 Mumbai attacks. Okay, the Mumbai Central Station, yes, and the hospital were deliberately targeted by terrorists. We also know the history of what happened in Kenya when it comes to the Westgate shopping mall attack in Kenya, and also the the terrorist attack in Russia, where they attacked the city hall. You see, so these are all issues which definitely are of concern when it comes to national security. And the Gambia Armed Forces, the commander in chief, from the president to the uh, the president, Mohamed O. Cham, is very, very key to them. It's at their heart to make sure that we don't reach to that level where we will have, you know, things manifesting themselves. But it's important for us to nip them in the bud, that they don't have
security and stability. And the second question is, how can the Gambian students and
Thank you very much, Kate, for those questions. First of all, is Gambia Armed Forces collaboration with national agencies. Uh, Let me inform you that the Gambia Armed Forces is also part of the National Security Council. The National Security Council is headed by the Vice President, and all the security agencies in the country, the Gambia Armed Forces, the Gambia Police Force, the State Intelligence, Immigration, Drug Law, their leaders are all part of that National Security Council. So every week, every week they meet to discuss on national security issues that involve any of the agencies, because as I said before, it's not a one-man show. So they discuss, the CDS will be there, the director of intelligence will be there, the the uh, the police, the inspector general of police will be there, immigration. So you see that, these are leaders of all these services. They meet together with the vice president, discuss on national security issues, and then make sure that they are, properly tackled from perspectives of each and every one of them, their mandate. You see. So the next one is about the Gambian students' contribution. I definitely like that question. But one of the ways that, the Gambian students abroad have already shown that you are part of this is to come up with this webinar. You see, this webinar discussion is already a very big contribution that you have done. Obviously, I want to commend, the 8th Executive Council, Bo, and everyone who have gone into thinking this out to come up with the idea of having this thought of discussing with key stakeholders when it comes to national security, you know, and then having this forum. So you will see that today, each and every one of us, we are educated, we are reminded, you understand, on what national security entails and what our role and responsibilities may be when it comes to those national security issues. And obviously, or somebody else mentioned, before asking the question, I think as is Mo himself, that he did not know that the Gambia Armed Forces is under all these tax, or the Gambia Armed Forces has personnel, who are, highly, educated or whatsoever. Let me tell you, okay, do not I am even close to the best in the Gambia Armed Forces. Fatih is with you. I will, point him out. He's a very sharp officer, very, gentle, ready for the task. And there are lots of them when it comes to the Gambia Armed Forces. When you come to our deployments, and then somebody else mentioned that when you finish your courses and come back, it's still going to be welcome for you to come and join the Gambia Armed Forces. Like somebody who studying how to call it cyber security. Is it Ibrahim or so? You understand? You come, and then when you show your intention to join, you join the Gambia Armed Forces. We have cadet selections all the time. You see, you can join and then serve as an officer, man the right position that you have studied, and development comes. Our national security is maintained. Our national security infrastructure is strengthened. This is one way that you can definitely contribute. Okay, Mohamed Lamin Wage, yes, you see, Mohamed Lamin Wage. So I know it's not only going to be him, but many of you, you understand. So these are some of the ways that we can develop our nation. You see. So I think that answers your question.
All right, thank you so much. We wanted to end it here, but we just appealing for you to give us two more questions, because one of those that also want to ask is Momodu Lami Wage, and the first one that raised the has Sergio, Academic Secretary. Because Sergio, you have the floor. Exactly, exactly. So if that's okay with the captain, we can go ahead. We have Sergio on the line, please.
I believe this is a rare opportunity.
Well, I think the deputy CDS will permit me to go ahead. So we may spend some more time. You may go ahead. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. May I please confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, you are.
All right.
Yes,
Thank
you
you
are.
very much, Yahya, for letting me in. And we send our heartfelt gratitude to Captain Kanuteh for being with us. So straight, like my questions would go like this: as Gambian students who are currently pursuing their degrees in aeronautical engineering, at some point, anytime that I ask my questions, I am usually biased because I am always on the side of the aeronautics. So no biggie. We're kindly interested in how our knowledge and skills can contribute to national development. With that in mind, does the Gambia currently have an established Air Force unit or any ongoing plans towards building one? And if so, what opportunities or pathways exist for young Gambians like us in the field to serve or contribute meaningfully when we return home, that is the Gambia? Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Gambia Armed Forces at the moment does not have an air force. The Chief of Defense Staff is tirelessly working on that to see to it that the Gambia at least starts off with an air wing, and then we develop into an air force. The maintenance of an air force is not easy. We have trained personnel in the Gambia Armed Forces who are pilots, who are into aeronautical engineering already, and they are within the Gambia Armed Forces. You see, So adding on to that number is going to be welcome, because obviously, even if we come to have a standing air wing, or we come to have that of an air force, then obviously if the manpower is not there, then we have a problem. So everything starts with the manpower, you see, and then the navy is there. Our seas need to be protected. So it's definitely something that is in the works by the Chief of Defense Staff, Gambia Armed Forces. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, Momodu Lami Wage, without wasting time. Momodu Lami Wage.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry about that. I was a little bit far from my phone. Thank you so much for your insightful discussions. As a cybersecurity professional and student myself, I would just love to base my questions on that domain only. Okay, so you've made mention of international and military cybersecurity, sorry, international military and cybersecurity collaborations. I want to ask, like, how does the Gambia Armed Forces ensure that the Gambia's data sovereignty is protected? Number two, given the evolving threat landscape in cybersecurity, is the military exploring the use of AI, machine learning, or threat intelligence tools for proactive cybersecurity defense? Those are my questions. Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you very much. The second part of your question, I get it fully, but if you can quickly go over your first part of your question, please.
Okay, I hope I'm audible. I said you've made mention of the international military and cybersecurity collaborations. How does the Gambia Armed Forces ensure the Gambia's data sovereignty is protected during these collaborations?
Okay, thank you very much for that. So, as I said, the Gambia Armed Forces have a Directorate of Communication. So, the Directorate of Communications is the one that is responsible for the upkeep of our databases, and also when it comes to such communications. The Gambia Armed Forces Signal Unit had trained personnel from even Taiwan, those who are trained in these areas. We also normally have trainings with the U.S. Africa Command when it comes to these communications or cybersecurity. Personally, even you know, just recently, the Gambia Armed Forces Signal Corps, or the direct, and also the Director of Communications, were trained by the Gambia government on such issues. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Then second to last, we call on Abdullah Njai.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the floor. And thank you, Mr. Kanuteh, or Captain Kanuteh, sorry, for definitely having this. Like others said, it's a rare moment to have public officers coming, especially talking to students that are really interested in national development. Now, my question is, like just last question, is IT related or cybersecurity related? You have mentioned some of the development that you have, especially with regards to cybersecurity, which is a concern. Now, looking at these espionage issues and cyber terrorism that are definitely at core, how is your relationship with the international body, like the bodies like uh, the bodies like how do you call it again? Forgot the name. As well as, in fact, locally, the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, you know, and the international body in terms of sovereignty, security of the nation, for instance. How is your relationship with them, as well as even the society as well? Do you have kind of a public awareness campaign for people to protect themselves at first before actually being attacked outside? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that is something that the Chief of Defense Staff is definitely concerned about. So when it comes to cybersecurity, obviously the Gambia Armed Forces, because of our collaboration with the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, that is how we even came to be given that training package by our this thing by our people in our communication and our signal core. You see, that is because of that. That is born out of that collaboration and that agreement. And the Gambia Armed Forces is also all the time giving its weight behind any government department institution that needs its services, and also even the security agencies. We are always collaborating with them. The chief of defense staff, Gambia Armed Forces, when he have Doba with the men, these are some of the key issues, that are also discussed, because when he goes out, he makes sure, the chief of defense staff goes out with all the necessary directors that are there to give a heads up to the men men and women in uniform. So if he goes on tour, the director of communication is there. The ones responsible for signals are there. So they give insights to the soldiers and the men in terms of such issues. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Then we now have on Mamadou Jallo. Mamadou Jallo, please. The floor is yours.
Sorry, my hand was already down. Okay, thank you so much, Captain Kanuteh, and we appreciate your comment also to share with us, as security is very important. My question was already asked. It's actually the coordination between the Gambia Armed Forces and the sister, how to call it, security sectors, such as the Gambia Police Force, because we used to see those, we call it, I don't know how we call it, you call it in security, but then both a task force, sorry, task force. There used to be task force that comprises of the Gambia Armed Forces, the police and immigration going around. But of recent, we've not been seeing that, especially in the area of NBR around Bara Amdalai Highway. It's very important around that end, because we always have threat of cross-border security from the Senegalese and other areas. So I don't know whether still now that is happening or not. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On the issue of tax forces, yes, the tax forces are still alive and they are still ongoing. We normally have joint patrols. The one infantry battalion normally conducts joint patrols together with the sister services. Also in Farafenya also does the same thing, and it's not only internal, but even external with Senegal. We normally have joint patrols with Senegal. How this is done is that they patrol their side of the border and the Gambia patrols its side of the border. So parallelly, each of these two countries, Gambia and Senegal, all patrol their borders at the same time, and they keep in touch when it comes to communication. So the task forces are all there. And then I was introduced. I was part of a task force at the airport. We have all the other services there, and each of us does their own part of the responsibilities in terms of national security. So yes, the task forces are alive and they are still ongoing.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. ML Jane.
Thank you so much, Captain Kanuteh. I actually met you in Sudan sometime. Then you were very helpful to Gambian students there. You were on a peacekeeping mission then. I guess you will remember me. So my question is, looking at what happened in that country where you came for peace mission, and looking at it now, the war that is ongoing at the moment, it seems like most of the conflicts that we see across the world nowadays are international. It's either a proxy war or a civil war. And for Sudan, I think probably there are some socio-cultural and also political factors that played into the fact that they have this war ongoing still. So are there any socio-cultural trends in this country which can threaten the stability of the country to such an extent that there could be some strife, some political or military strife? And if there is any, is the military paying attention to some of those factors? Thank you.
Thank you very much, And definitely, yeah, I was in Sudan, and then, as military, it's always our responsibility to work with any citizen anywhere that we find ourselves. So that was very normal, and then it was something that actually the commander in chief and also the chief of defense staff, likewise the contingent commander of the contingent, were all in favor of. So, talking about the issues of socio-cultural trends in the Gambia, the issue of Sudan and atrocities that happen, uh, failure of national security in any given country is actually a learning point when it comes to our nation. It is something that we need to learn from. When for the Gambia in question, the the Gambia Armed Forces gives a hand to the other services that are responsible directly for such issues, to make sure that you look at sociocultural to become national security threats. So we make sure those are always solved at the grassroots level. There are incidences whereby the Gambia Armed Forces deploys to diffuse sociocultural tensions or uh, ethnic issues that may try to surface, whether it's between individuals or it is between communities. The government does not take that lightly. So the government makes sure that it is deployed to make sure that those issues or those cases are nipped in the bud from developing to a stage or to a level whereby they'll become open, national security threats. We even see the Gambia Armed Forces supports the Gambia police force when it comes to the 3 years judgment. The Gambia Armed Forces was fully behind the police, giving them all the necessary support that they need. Currently, this operation clear the roads. The Gambia Armed Forces is there, giving a full support. The Gunjul Berending case, Gambia Armed Forces was there. The Faraba incident, the Gambia Armed Forces was there. The Gambia Armed Forces everywhere. So the the commanders on the ground in each of the areas, when there is any issue, it is flagged, and the chief of defense staff makes sure that, as soon as possible, the Gambia Armed Forces responds in its capacity to make sure that those cases or issues are tackled, that they don't surface to levels whereby, we see in cases of Sudan. Is just unfortunate. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Now we now welcome the last question. Say to DM camera. That's the last, please. Say to camera.
Captain, thank you so very much for those insightful deliberations. I am Seydou Diem Kamara. Your extensive experience was a valuable perspective on the evolving dynamics of national security. My questions will be, in the light of this increasing prominence hybrid warfare, how do you assess the implications of the gray zone tactics, where states and non-state actors blur the lines between conventional military engagement, let's say cyber warfare, and information operation? How can national security frameworks effectively adapt to counter this asymmetrical threat, particularly when they undermine traditional deterrence models and complicate strategic calculus? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sedu. That question is another key one, although all the questions are key and then apt. Okay, the Gambia Armed Forces I did mention is into partnerships. We are part of the National Security Council locally. Okay, we are also part of regional security bodies. We are part of ECOWAS. We are part of the United Nations, and then we deploy. So you'll see that the Gambia Armed Forces had spread out at all levels, nationally, locally, we have our commanding officers who are deployed to each of the battalions, which are strategically located within the country. So at that grassroots level, they are engaged with the population. Okay, at the national level too, the Chief of Defense Staff is part of the National Security Council. The Gambia Armed Forces have also set up a board of the for the Gambia Armed Forces. We have the Minister of Defense. We have the National Security Advisor. We also have the National Assembly Select Committee on Defense. So all these are set up to make sure that the issue of hybrid warfare is the direction of operations for the Gambia Armed Forces. We deploy to missions. When it comes to missions, like somebody mentioned about Sudan, those are hybrid missions. The army deploys with, other nations, civilian populations, civilian workers and everything, and everybody works together to make sure, that the security that they are tasked to do is actually, in place. So internally within the Gambia or within the nation, the Gambia Armed Forces is a great player, and the Chief of Defense Staff is always in touch with partners. You know, recently the Minister of Defense for Senegal was here, he was received by, our own Minister of Defense, and the Chief of Defense Staff was there. The senior general officers were there, to make sure all these things are looked into, and this civilian population is not left behind. We are always in touch with them, locally. So that issue is definitely well taken care of. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. This brought us to the end of the question and answer session. We will now move to the next itinerary, and Tony Mendy will take us through. Before that, Tony, 1 minute. The Gambian members, immediately after the closing remark, we try and say we have a meeting. The Gambian members, please.
Yes, thank you so much, Yaya. Before that, Captain Sir, can you confirm if the deputy CD is around? Hello, sir. Captain Sir.
Yeah, I'm checking. I think he's gone. The deputy CDS has gone. He has other engagements.
Then, Tony, let's move to the next itinerary, please.
I was out. The network kicked me off. Okay, so I did ask a question. I don't know what was the answer.
He is not around, so we now move to the next itinerary.
All right, sir. So the next.
I was saying that the deputy CDS has gone, but we have other officers here. Yeah, from the Navy is here and others. But then we also have Lieutenant Colonel Gomez. She's also online. Some officers are here.
All right, sir. We indeed recognize their presence, sir. It's a privilege to have such high caliber officers in our midst, and we don't take it for granted, honestly.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next in the itinerary is the closing remark by Khadija Jallo, the Academic Secretary of GAM India Association. Yes, sir. All right, sir. So, Captain, sir, you can have your last words with us. I believe we are all eager to learn from you.
Thank you very much. Well, I will only extend the appreciation of the Chief of Defense Staff, Gambia Armed Forces, the general officers, men and women, and ratings of the Gambia Armed Forces towards the well thought out, uh, decision to come up with the idea of having the Gambia Armed Forces to, have a discussion on this day, the Republic Day, with all of you. It is definitely very much appreciated, and as I said before, you can see the level of importance that the Gambia Armed Forces have attached to this. The Deputy CDS was here, the Director of Legal Services was also listening on. So, it's definitely, very, very, very important for us. And then I am only there to thank you for having me on this platform. And then the questions that have popped in shows the caliber of students that the Gambia has in India. And then we pray for all of you to finish your courses, get those qualifications, get those knowledge, and then come back and get ready to serve your nation. The the nation needs each and every one of us. And then it is from the individual level, as I mentioned before, to our households, to our communities, to our regions, to the national stage, that we can, actually safeguard this nation of ours.
We have to give it like we have to give all our efforts and everything, like our support to it as citizens. Like calling for this gathering is very, very important. We could have discussed about issues, but though we are far from the Gambia, but our hearts and mind are always at home. So for that being the case, we always like organize such discussion, like to see how to improve uh, as citizens and how to work and how to contribute to national development. So to the participants, I'm saying thank you very much for your thoughtful questions, which added like value to this conversation. I know there are a lot of people who wanted to ask questions, but time did not permit us. So we hope we will have like another discussion of this kind. As you know, time is always a factor. And to the Gambia Armed Forces, we are saying thank you very much for joining us. I could see that people joined from different angles, like they were trying to looking at the time difference. It was 2:30 in the Gambia, but people joined, all of them like were with us, and we really appreciate that. So I also have one recommendation that I want to give. Uh, I wanted to bring it during the question and answer session. That is like the Gambia Armed Forces should also try to collaborate with the University of the Gambia, like to introduce some of these courses like cybersecurity, forensic science, and others that will enable citizens to study some of these things like without going to other countries. At least we can have like basic information about or background about some of these things, which will add value to like the Gambia Armed Forces. So to our moderators, Mr. Tony Mendy and Mr. Yaya Jallo, I'm saying thank you very much. We are really grateful for having all of you. Thank you very much. Please join us for another webinar next month, inshallah. Thank you very much, Mr. Kanuteh. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Yes,
All
Tony.
right. Thank you very much. That's what was the end of this discussion. Have a nice day, all of you. Thank you.